Introduction. Friends, if you're even a little bit curious about mysterious lands, ancient secrets, lost legends, and films that take you deep into the heart of darkness, then Forbidden City, 2025, is one movie you absolutely cannot miss. So before we jump in, make sure to like this video if you love adventure-packed cinema with stunning visuals and compelling storytelling. And if you're visiting our channel for the very first time, welcome to the movie-loving family. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because here we bring you the most detailed and entertaining breakdowns of all the latest films. Today's spotlight is on Forbidden City, a film that's been building serious hype. And not just because of its star-studded cast or breathtaking visuals, but because it promises something rare. An original story soaked in myth, danger, history, and suspense. In this video, we're going to take you on a complete journey through everything you need to know about Forbidden City. What exactly is this film? What kind of world does it build? Who are the people behind it? What makes it such a unique cinematic experience? We'll answer all those questions and more. I'll tell you where you can watch it. Whether it's making a big splash in cinemas, releasing straight to streaming, or premiering on a particular satellite channel. Whether you prefer the big screen magic of a theater or the comfort of watching at home, I'll help you figure out the best way to experience this film at its full impact. We'll then travel behind the camera into the film's technical departments, where the real magic begins. We'll break down the visual style and cinematography that gives Forbidden City its haunting, almost dreamlike look. The lighting, the camera movement, the color grading, all of it contributes to the eerie, timeless atmosphere of the story. The production design is another highlight, with lavish sets that blend historical architecture with mythical symbolism. From towering gates and mist-covered temples to underground chambers and ancient scrolls, every frame is crafted with precision and meaning. The costume design also deserves a special mention. Each piece is loaded with visual cues that reflect the character's heritage, allegiance, and inner struggle. Then there's the music. The score in Forbidden City is more than just background sound. It pulses with tension, rises with drama, and sometimes goes quiet just long enough to send a chill down your spine. Composed with a blend of traditional instruments and modern electronic elements, the soundtrack serves as an emotional and narrative compass, guiding the viewer through moments of awe, revelation, and dread. We'll talk about the musical choices, recurring motifs, and how certain scenes come alive because of the powerful sound design. Now let's move into the pre-production stage. The work that happens before the cameras even start rolling. A film like Forbidden City requires months of planning, from building intricate sets and mapping out storyboards to rehearsing action sequences and scouting the perfect locations. Some scenes were shot in historical sites that had never before allowed filming. Others were built from scratch using expert craftsmanship. We'll also look at how the directors and writers developed the script, a story that mixes forgotten legends, modern conflicts, and deeply personal stakes. The writing process was guided by historians, mythologists, and cultural advisors to give the film depth, accuracy, and meaning. Once the groundwork was laid, filming began, and with it came a whole new set of challenges. The production faced unpredictable weather, remote shoot locations, and elaborate practical effects that had to be timed perfectly. Some actors trained for months in martial arts or ancient dialects. Others underwent physical transformations or performed their own stunts. It was a demanding shoot that pushed the cast and crew to their limits, but the results are clear on screen. This is a film that looks and feels massive. After filming wrapped, the project moved into post-production, where editors stitched together scenes, added visual effects, refined the pacing, and shaped the final experience. CGI was used not to overwhelm, but to enhance, to bring to life giant mythological creatures, cursed relics, and surreal dreamscapes that could never be created physically. Colorists worked frame by frame to ensure the film's tone stayed consistent. Moody, golden, shadowed, or stark when needed. Sound editors added layers of subtle audio that make the world of Forbidden City feel alive. Distant whispers, creaking floors, wind brushing against ancient stone. Now let's talk numbers. The budget and box office expectations. Forbidden City is not a small film. With a reported budget running into the tens of millions, it's a major production backed by a global studio. Marketing efforts have already begun with viral teasers, posters, and cryptic trailers that have fans speculating wildly. As for its box office, early predictions are optimistic, with international markets especially interested due to the film's universal themes and multicultural cast. It's expected to do well not just in North America, but also in Asian, European, and Middle Eastern territories. So what's the story? Without spoiling anything, Forbidden City follows an unlikely hero, a skeptical archaeologist who stumbles into a conflict that's been hidden for centuries. Beneath the ruins of the Forbidden City lies a portal, sealed by blood and betrayal, and guarded by those sworn to protect it at any cost. As reality unravels and truths are exposed, our protagonist must decide whether to flee, fight, or awaken something even more dangerous. It's part mystery, part horror, part action, and all wrapped in a layer of ancient legend and spiritual tension. As for the performances, the cast is phenomenal. Veteran actors and rising stars come together to deliver powerful, layered performances. You've got a wise mentor hiding a terrible secret, a warrior priest driven by visions, a villain who's as charismatic as he is terrifying, and a lead whose transformation anchors the entire story. Each role is memorable, each performance grounded in emotion, and the chemistry between the characters makes the narrative feel personal despite its epic scope. To wrap up, we'll also share some hidden facts and trivia. Did you know some scenes were shot in real historical tombs under strict supervision? Or that the script is inspired by actual folktales found in rare Eastern manuscripts? There are visual motifs, recurring symbols, and even secret messages in the architecture if you look closely. The more you pay attention, the more you'll uncover, just like the characters in the story. So buckle up, because this isn't just a movie, it's an experience. Whether you're here for the action, the atmosphere, the mythology, or the mystery, Forbidden City promises to deliver something unforgettable. Stay with us through the rest of the video, and let's dive even deeper into the secrets of this cinematic epic. Let's begin. The plot of Forbidden City unfolds like a grand historical tapestry being slowly unrolled in the dark, revealing intricate patterns woven with threads of myth, memory, betrayal, and blood. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't announce its twists. It lets you wander, question, fall into traps, and then dazzles you when you realize that what you thought was a crack in the wall was actually a doorway, and you've already stepped through it. From the very beginning, it signals that this isn't a story that will unfold in a neat linear path. It thrives on duality, past and present, seen and unseen, remembered and forgotten, and it manipulates perspective like an illusionist shifting mirrors in a haunted house. We start in a deceptively grounded place, a lecture hall. Dr. Elias Vora stands before a skeptical audience, giving what he thinks is just another controversial presentation. He's made a name for himself challenging traditional historical narratives, especially those that surround the Forbidden City. He speaks of lost dynasties, secret chambers beneath the palace, and a bloodline erased from history by force and fire. His tone is academic, cynical, detached. But his life is about to be anything but. Because what Elias doesn't know is that history has already chosen him. Not as an observer, but as a participant. Soon after, Elias receives an anonymous package, a tattered scroll, an old map, and a strange stone amulet. These aren't just artifacts. They're keys. The map points him toward a sealed-off section of the Forbidden City, long buried under bureaucracy and superstition. As he arrives, the atmosphere shifts. Clocks behave strangely. He starts having dreams. Not his own, but vivid and visceral, as if pulled from someone else's memories. And then the film fractures. Parallel to Elias's story, we begin to witness the life of Chen, a young warrior scholar from hundreds of years earlier, who was once tasked with guarding a forbidden chamber beneath the palace. Her storyline unfolds not in flashbacks, but in real time. It doesn't feel like memory. It feels like another reality running alongside Elias's own. What's brilliant is how the film doesn't just alternate between timelines. It overlaps them. Scenes echo each other. Elias and Chen move through the same location centuries apart, but they begin to see glimpses of each other, feel each other's fears. A turning point hits when Elias deciphers a prophecy carved into stone that refers to a foreign-born scribe of silence, destined to unseal the forgotten gate. He dismisses it as metaphor until he finds his own name written beneath it, in an ancient dialect he's never studied. From this point on, the narrative becomes increasingly unreliable in the best way. Time becomes soft, stretchy. What we thought were flashbacks may actually be flash-forwards. Elias begins to question not just the history he studies, but the very nature of identity and time. The conflicts intensify not just in physical danger, but in emotional and psychological stakes. Elias's team starts to fracture. Trust evaporates. One member is revealed to be an agent for a secret society sworn to keep the gate sealed, no matter the cost. Another is obsessed with opening it, believing it will grant immortality. And then there's the revelation that Elias himself is not just any academic. He is the last surviving thread in a royal bloodline deliberately erased from history. His family's legacy was locked away with the gate, along with a terrible secret that still pulses like a heartbeat under the city stones. Around the midpoint of the film, everything caves in. Elias finds himself trapped beneath the city in a labyrinth that shifts as he moves through it. He encounters visions, sometimes of the past, sometimes of what could happen, and sometimes of things that never did but still hold meaning. Chen, in her own time, is facing a mirror of his conflict. She has to decide whether to obey her order and guard the gate, or defy it and seal it forever, knowing that it might cost her life and damn her lineage. Their stories converge in one of the film's most surreal sequences. A shared dream in which they speak across centuries, locked in a temple that exists outside of time. It's emotional, eerie, and oddly tender. As we move toward the final act, the stakes elevate from historical curiosity to cosmic consequence. The Forbidden City itself becomes an active force. Walls shift, staircases spiral endlessly. The city begins to remember. It reveals not just its architecture, but its emotions: rage, sorrow, revenge. The deeper Elias and his team go, the more fragmented reality becomes. The gate beneath the palace turns out to be not just a physical construct, but a metaphysical one. A tear in memory that holds everything the city was too ashamed to remember. In the climactic sequence, Elias and Chen finally occupy the same space, not through time travel, but through a collapse of time itself. Their decisions ripple across centuries. What one does, the other feels. Their choices begin to overwrite history. In a moment of poetic symmetry, Elias chooses to sacrifice his discovery, to protect the truth instead of exposing it. Chen, in her own timeline, mirrors his choice. The gate is sealed, not with stone, but with memory. And as Elias emerges into the light, the Forbidden City has changed. Not visibly, but spiritually. The weight of centuries has lifted. For the first time, the city breathes. And then comes the final sequence, silent, slow, ambiguous. Elias stands at the palace steps as tourists pass him by, unaware of what just occurred. A child runs past, clutching the same amulet from the beginning. The past isn't gone. It's simply watching, waiting, choosing the next scribe to tell its story. That's how Forbidden City works. It doesn't offer answers. It offers echoes. The story is told like an excavation, layer after layer, deeper and darker, until you hit something ancient, something sacred, something that remembers your name. The characters in Forbidden City don't just populate the story. They shape it, bend it, bleed into it. They are the architects of the narrative as much as they are prisoners of it. This is a film where the characters are not neatly labeled as hero, villain, sidekick, or love interest. They are crafted with complexity, often contradicting themselves, stumbling through layers of myth and memory, constantly evolving in response to the strange and sacred world around them. And perhaps most intriguingly, they are each tied to the city itself in deeply personal, spiritual, and ancestral ways. Their arcs are not simply storylines. They are emotional excavations, each character slowly unearthing who they really are, what they truly want, and what they're willing to sacrifice to get it. Dr. Elias Vora is our lens into this world, but he is far from a traditional protagonist. He doesn't arrive as a wide-eyed adventurer or a noble truth-seeker. He is a man of cynicism, pride, and intellectual arrogance, someone who has built his entire identity on deconstructing history, yet refuses to examine his own. He thrives in lecture halls, in front of audiences who challenge him, but he is emotionally distant, perhaps even fearful of human intimacy. What makes Elias fascinating is that he believes he's above belief. He begins the film thinking the city's secrets are puzzles to be solved. But the city sees through that. It challenges his motives. It forces him to question not only what he's been taught, but what he's become. Through hallucinatory visions, ancient inscriptions that seem to shift as he reads them, and encounters with people who may or may not be real, Elias is dismantled piece by piece. He transforms not because he wants to, but because he is unraveled by a place that remembers things he has forgotten, including his bloodline. And the further he descends into the physical and metaphysical depths of the Forbidden City, the more he begins to shed the armor of academia and embrace a truth that's rooted not in knowledge, but in sacrifice. Opposite Elias is Chen, the silent guardian from centuries past, and easily one of the most emotionally compelling characters in the film. She lives in a time when the Forbidden City was still alive with ceremony, secrets, and shadows. Chen is born into duty. She doesn't question it. She's the daughter of warriors, trained to protect the inner sanctum beneath the city. A chamber spoken of in whispers, believed to hold something that must never be released. At first, she's rigid, loyal, unshakable. But as unrest begins to seep into the palace, rebellion from within, betrayal among her own, she begins to question the very traditions she was taught to die for. Chen's journey is deeply internal. She watches her mentors fall, sees the cracks forming in the dynasty she once revered, and starts to feel the unbearable weight of being the last defense between the world and something unspeakable. Her arc mirrors Elias's in profound ways, even though they're separated by centuries. She too must decide whether her identity is defined by the past, or whether she can forge a new path, one that breaks the cycle of silence and fear. What's so beautiful is how the film allows Elias and Chen to influence each other, without ever sharing a traditional scene together for most of the story. Their connection is metaphysical, emotional, almost mythic. They dream of each other's choices. They see overlapping fragments. A decision one makes seems to echo into the life of the other. It's never spelled out whether this is fate, reincarnation, or the city itself reaching through time. But the bond between them becomes the film's emotional anchor. And when they finally come together in the climactic metaphysical convergence, it doesn't feel like a plot twist. It feels like destiny realigning. Then there's May, a character who at first seems like a voice of logic, reason, and grounded thinking. She's a cryptologist, methodical, clever, and not interested in legends. But her motivations are quietly intense. She isn't on this journey for adventure. She's here because her grandmother once served in the imperial palace during the revolution and died under mysterious circumstances. May carries the weight of unfinished history. Her role in the story is fascinating because she begins as Elias's skeptic, mirroring his own disbelief, but she evolves more rapidly. Where Elias resists what he sees, May leans in. Her transformation is less about revelation and more about confrontation. She doesn't want to believe in ghosts, but when they whisper her family name, she listens. The tension between May and Elias is one of the film's richest relationships. It's not romantic. It's not sibling-like. It's something else. Two fiercely intelligent people slowly learning to trust each other in a place designed to tear people apart. They argue, they accuse, they disappoint each other. But they also survive together. They hold each other up when the city starts collapsing both physically and mentally. Their bond becomes one of mutual recognition. They see each other's pain, even when they don't speak it out loud. And then comes Richard Carnes, the government representative embedded in the expedition team, and a masterclass in restrained menace. Carnes doesn't twirl his mustache. He doesn't even raise his voice. He's calm, clinical, and chilling. What makes him unforgettable is that he believes he's the only person truly qualified to decide which parts of history deserve to survive. His motivations stem from a fear of chaos. In his view, truth is dangerous because it's unpredictable. He wants control, not because he's power-hungry, but because he genuinely believes the world is better off not knowing certain things. But as the story progresses, we discover he's not just a bystander. Carnes has been to the Forbidden City before. He's seen something, and it changed him in ways that never healed. His obsession is rooted in trauma, an event that the city showed him and never let him forget. He becomes the cautionary tale, a man broken by knowledge, using authority to shield himself from ever feeling powerless again. Even the supporting characters are treated with depth and purpose. Ishan, the spiritual advisor who rarely speaks above a whisper, seems at first like background presence. But as the city becomes more erratic and reality starts to bend, Ishan becomes the guide, pointing out that the journey isn't just about what lies beneath the palace, but what lies inside each of them. There's also Mara, the linguist whose mind begins to unravel as she decodes the ancient texts. Her descent into madness is terrifying because it feels like enlightenment gone too far. She begins to hear voices in the carvings, see blood in the ink, and speak in forgotten dialects. Her breakdown reflects what the Forbidden City does to those who stare too long into its heart. It strips away the surface until all that's left is raw, terrifying truth. Together, these characters don't just move through the story. They become the story. Their motivations, whether it's Elias's hunger for truth, Lien's struggle with duty, May's desire for closure, or Carnes's fear of chaos, are the gears that turn the narrative forward. And because the city reacts to each of them differently, it feels alive. It rewards the brave. It punishes the prideful. It forgives sometimes. It remembers always. What makes their development so gripping is that nothing feels predetermined. The characters make choices, difficult, morally gray, emotionally charged choices. The performances in Forbidden City operate on a level that's less about traditional acting and more about transformation. You don't just see actors playing roles. You witness people dissolving into the essence of their characters, becoming indistinguishable from the haunted spaces they move through. Every character in this film feels like they've been chosen not just to perform, but to channel something ancient, something that remembers. The entire cast, leads and supporting, inhabit their roles with a kind of reverence, as though the story demanded not just emotional depth, but spiritual surrender. The result is a film that feels inhabited by real souls, haunted not by ghosts but by memory, myth, and emotional residue. The performances don't just serve the plot. They become the heartbeat of the film's architecture. Dr. Elias Vora is portrayed by an actor who doesn't simply play a man of intellect. He embodies the weight of a lifetime built on skepticism and buried wounds. What makes this performance so compelling isn't just the arc from rational academic to spiritual witness, but the way that arc is expressed in precise, almost imperceptible shifts. Early in the film, Elias moves with control. He speaks in confident bursts, his voice clipped and exact, his body language closed off and insulated. He's sharp, witty, unshakable, until the city begins to unravel him. The brilliance of the performance is in the restraint. Rather than spiraling outward, Elias collapses inward. His eyes start darting more. His hands linger too long on ancient symbols. He forgets what day it is. The actor builds his descent into wonder and madness with such care that you almost don't realize it's happening until a pivotal scene where Elias can't bring himself to finish a sentence because something unseen has just passed behind him. And for a moment, he looks like a child lost in his own mind. This is a performance built on erosion. Elias is stripped of confidence, logic, and certainty, and what's left is raw humanity. In one extraordinary scene, he stares at a mural that seems to shift in real time, and instead of reacting with fear or confusion, he simply kneels and mutters a name that hasn't been spoken aloud for hundreds of years. That moment doesn't rely on special effects. It relies entirely on the actor's ability to collapse centuries into a single, whispered breath. It's riveting. Opposite him is Lien, portrayed by an actress who gives one of the most physically and emotionally grounded performances in any film of this scale. Lien doesn't speak much at first, but her silence is not empty. It's full. Full of restraint, of fear, of training, of memories she doesn't dare share. Her eyes do the speaking. Her every movement is deliberate, shaped by years of martial discipline and spiritual obedience. But as the past begins to unravel around her, we see the cracks form. The actress doesn't shout or break down. She allows her stillness to become shaky. A single tear rolls down as she passes a door she knows she's never meant to open, and that moment hits harder than any explosion could. Lien's performance is rooted in a quiet conflict. She is torn between duty and instinct, between what she was taught and what she knows to be true. In one unforgettable scene, she confronts the dying mentor who raised her, and the entire emotional exchange happens without a single line of dialogue. They simply look at each other. The camera holds. The breath tightens. And in that silence, their entire shared history is revealed. That's the kind of layered performance that requires not just technical skill, but absolute immersion into the character's inner world. Now enter May, the cryptologist and emotional compass of the expedition, played with intelligence, restraint, and haunting vulnerability. May is the realist of the group. She's practical, focused, and unafraid to challenge authority. But what makes her performance so essential is the way she balances intellectual control with emotional vulnerability. She's not just here for the job. She has skin in the game, a personal connection to the Forbidden City's legacy that creeps up on her, even as she tries to deny it. The actress playing May understands this conflict deeply. She keeps the character guarded, yet every now and then lets just enough emotion bleed through. A shaken breath after reading a text she shouldn't understand. A distant look when someone mentions a name she thought only her grandmother knew. One of May's best moments comes when she's left alone in a chamber of artifacts. There's no music, no dialogue, just her touching a worn inscription. Her hand trembles, her eyes widen, and without saying anything, we understand that something from her family's past has reached out to claim her. That kind of performance doesn't need exposition. It needs honesty, and May's actress delivers it with devastating grace. And then we have Richard Carnes, played with chilling elegance. He's a man who thinks in straight lines and speaks in carefully measured tones. From the very first scene, he exudes a calculated calm, The kind that tells you this is someone who doesn't make threats. He makes decisions. But what makes his performance unforgettable is how the actor slowly reveals the desperation under that control. Carnes isn't just a power-hungry official. He's someone who saw too much, too young, and has spent his life trying to keep the lid on the chaos he once glimpsed. His performance is built on micro-expressions. A glance held too long, a flinch when someone mentions a name he buried in the past. By the time his composed exterior begins to fracture, it's almost a relief. You want to see him break. But when he finally does, it's with a quiet, broken whisper that chills more than any outburst ever could. The supporting cast gives the story its heartbeat. Ishan, the spiritual advisor, is portrayed with such quiet gravity that every time he speaks, it feels like prophecy. He doesn't say much, but when he does, it's with the calm of someone who has stared into the abyss and found something holy there. His stillness adds depth to every scene he's in. He's the film's center of gravity, a reminder that not everything needs to be understood to be respected. And then there's Mara, the linguist who becomes psychologically unmoored by the ancient language she's decoding. Her descent into madness is handled with elegance. She doesn't scream. She whispers. She doesn't flail. She stares, eyes wide with reverence. The actress crafts a slow, internal breakdown that feels more like surrender than collapse. And that's what makes it so disturbing. Even background characters, guards, archivists, workers, elders, are filled with life. No one feels like a stock role. Each one seems like they've lived a life before the scene began, and will continue long after it ends. The ensemble elevates every moment, giving the film the emotional weight and authenticity it needs to make the fantastical elements believable. What makes the performances in Forbidden City so unforgettable is that every actor seems to understand the rhythm of the world they're in. It's not loud. It's slow, ancient, atmospheric. The city demands patience. It demands silence. And the actors lean into that, never rushing, never overplaying. They let the city speak through them. They don't just react to events. They reflect them, absorb them, embody them. The direction of Forbidden City is a masterclass in crafting atmosphere, tone, and narrative rhythm that feels less like watching a conventional movie and more like entering a living, breathing world steeped in mystery and ancient power. The director approaches this film with the patience of a storyteller who knows that some stories need time to breathe. That suspense is built not just in what is shown, but in what is withheld. From the opening moments, the director sets a tone of quiet reverence, carefully balancing the eerie with the intimate, the monumental with the personal, creating a cinematic experience that invites viewers to immerse themselves fully. Pacing is one of the most striking aspects of the director's approach. This is a film that refuses to be hurried, a deliberate unraveling of a tightly wound mystery. The director plays with time as a malleable element, stretching moments until every detail becomes significant. Scenes linger on subtle gestures. A glance exchanged between characters, the slow unfurling of a scroll, the soft creak of a door swinging open. The long takes and slow camera movements allow tension to build organically, creating a hypnotic rhythm that mimics the slow uncovering of secrets. You find yourself drawn into the film's world not by rapid-fire action, but by the weight of each silence, each shadow, each breath. Visually, the director is nothing short of a magician, transforming the Forbidden City itself into a living, almost sentient character. The use of space is extraordinary, vast. Cavernous halls feel oppressive and claustrophobic at the same time, while narrow corridors twist and turn like veins through a vast body. The framing is meticulous, often placing characters off-center or dwarfed by their surroundings, emphasizing how small and vulnerable they are against the immensity of history pressing down on them. This visual design not only grounds the story in a tangible reality, but also heightens the emotional stakes, reminding the audience constantly of the weight the characters carry. Light and shadow become essential storytelling tools under this director's hand. Natural light filters in through broken windows or latticework, creating pools of illumination that highlight fragments of ancient murals or dust motes swirling in the air. Shadows stretch and warp, sometimes swallowing entire sections of the frame, hinting at dangers lurking just beyond perception. The interplay between light and dark becomes a metaphor for the film's themes. Knowledge and ignorance, revelation and concealment, the seen and the unseen. This chiaroscuro effect isn't just visual flair. It deepens the mood, wrapping the audience in a cloak of suspense and wonder. The director also employs sound and silence with great finesse. Instead of a bombastic score, the film relies on ambient noises, whispers of wind, the distant clatter of footsteps, the soft rustling of ancient paper, to create an immersive soundscape. These subtle sounds work in tandem with the visuals to build an atmosphere thick with tension. Silence, in particular, is used powerfully. There are moments when the absence of sound is almost deafening, forcing the viewer to lean in and fill the space with their own unease. This use of silence and minimalism makes the sudden shifts, the creak of a door, a whispered name, a sudden movement, feel all the more impactful. Narratively, the director chooses a structure that reflects the film's themes of memory, history, and the cyclical nature of secrets. The story unfolds in layers, weaving between past and present, between myth and reality. Rather than presenting information in a straightforward way, the director teases it out through visual echoes and symbolic parallels. Scenes are mirrored across timelines, subtle motifs reappear in different contexts, and characters' actions in one era reverberate into another. This non-linear storytelling demands active engagement from the audience, encouraging them to piece together clues and question what is real and what is remembered or imagined. The director trusts the viewer to navigate this complex narrative maze, making the film feel like a puzzle that reveals itself slowly and satisfyingly. Stylistic choices abound that heighten the film's immersive quality. The camera often adopts a contemplative gaze, holding on landscapes or artifacts longer than expected, inviting reflection rather than rushing forward. Movement within frames is often deliberate and ritualistic, with characters' actions choreographed to echo themes of tradition, respect, and fear. The director's eye for detail is evident in every scene. From the intricate patterns on ancient tapestries to the worn edges of a scholar's notebook, each element adding layers of authenticity and meaning. This attention to detail not only enriches the world building, but also invites viewers to slow down and absorb the textures of the film's universe. At key moments, the director leans into almost surreal or dreamlike imagery to convey emotional and thematic depth. Sequences where time seems to bend, walls shifting, murals changing before the eyes, echoes overlapping, are handled with subtle visual effects that never overwhelm the story but enhance its mysterious aura. These moments blur the line between reality and vision, past and present, reinforcing the idea that the Forbidden City is a place where history is not static but alive, constantly shifting beneath the surface. Importantly, the director balances this atmospheric depth with a strong emotional core. The human stories at the heart of the film, the doubts, fears, and desires of the characters, are never lost in the grandeur of the setting. Intimate close-ups, carefully paced dialogues, and quiet, unguarded moments allow the audience to connect deeply with the characters' inner lives. The director's approach to tone ensures that the film is never cold or distant, but always feels personal, drawing viewers into the emotional landscape as much as the physical one. Finally, the director's vision transforms Forbidden City from a simple narrative into an experience that lingers long after the credits roll. Through a combination of patient pacing, meticulous composition, masterful use of light and shadow, and a bold narrative structure, the film becomes a cinematic journey into memory, myth, and the unseen forces that shape history. The direction invites the audience not just to watch, but to enter a world that is as beautiful as it is unsettling, as familiar as it is strange, making Forbidden City a haunting and unforgettable cinematic experience. The cinematography of Forbidden City is a dazzling symphony of visual storytelling, where every camera angle, beam of light, and carefully chosen frame serves a purpose far beyond simple imagery. It's as if the camera itself is an explorer, guiding the audience through the labyrinthine depths of the Forbidden City, peeling back layers of history, mystery, and emotion with every shot. This film's visual language is not just about showing us what's there, but about making us feel the weight of centuries, the pulse of secrets hidden beneath the surface, and the fragile humanity of those caught within this monumental place. Starting with camera angles, the film revels in its ability to manipulate perspective to emphasize character psychology and thematic weight. Low-angle shots often loom large over the protagonists, making them appear both small and monumental, a paradox that captures their struggle to assert individuality within a vast, oppressive legacy. These shots heighten the drama by creating a sense of awe and intimidation, as if the characters are dwarfed not just by the physical structures, but by the cultural and historical forces at play. On the flip side, sweeping aerial views and high-angle shots showcase the sprawling complexity of the Forbidden City itself, emphasizing isolation amid grandeur. These moments remind us how small and vulnerable humans are against the backdrop of a place designed for emperors and gods, hinting at the fragility of the characters' missions and lives. The use of close-ups is equally compelling. Here, the camera zooms into the microcosm of human emotion. The flicker of fear in a character's eyes, the subtle tremble of a hand clutching a cherished relic, or the quiver of a lip holding back unshed tears. These intimate shots pull viewers into the private worlds of the characters, allowing us to share their doubts, hopes, and fears. This oscillation between the grand and the intimate is a signature of the cinematography, giving the film a dynamic visual rhythm that never feels monotonous. Lighting is wielded like a painter's brush throughout the film, crafting moods that are at once ethereal and grounded. The cinematographer's choice to lean heavily on natural and practical light sources infuses the film with an organic texture. Sunlight filtering through intricate lattice windows scatters delicate patterns on walls and floors, transforming everyday surfaces into moving works of art. In darker, more suspenseful scenes, the lighting shifts dramatically. Torchlight flickers against ancient stones, creating pools of warmth surrounded by ominous shadows. This chiaroscuro effect plays a dual role, both enveloping the scene in mystery and spotlighting crucial narrative elements, like cryptic inscriptions or hidden doorways, thereby engaging the audience in an almost tactile search for clues. The interplay between light and shadow is one of the film's most potent storytelling devices. Shadows often creep and stretch unnaturally, suggesting that the city itself harbors unseen forces and memories. Moments where characters step into or out of the light become symbolic, crossing from ignorance into knowledge, safety into danger, or reality into the supernatural. This visual motif runs like a thread through the film, tying together disparate scenes and themes into a cohesive tapestry that rewards attentive viewers. Framing and composition in Forbidden City elevate every scene to a level of visual poetry. The film's frames are meticulously balanced and rich with symbolism. Characters are often positioned within architectural elements like doorways, arches, or beneath ornate ceilings, visually trapping them within the city's confines and history. The use of negative space is masterful, allowing silence and emptiness to speak volumes. A lone figure standing in a vast courtyard suddenly feels exposed and vulnerable, the surrounding emptiness amplifying their isolation. In contrast, tighter, claustrophobic frames in narrow corridors or cramped rooms build tension and unease, making the audience feel the character's physical and emotional confinement. One can't talk about the cinematography without highlighting some of the film's standout visual sequences. There is a breathtaking tracking shot that follows a protagonist winding through the shadowy corridors of the palace, the camera gliding effortlessly behind and alongside, building suspense and intimacy simultaneously. Another unforgettable moment occurs when a sudden burst of golden light floods an ancient hall, illuminating centuries-old murals in such vivid detail that they seem to breathe and shift, blurring the line between the living and the legendary. These moments are more than cinematic flourishes. They serve as visual milestones that deepen the narrative and emotional resonance of the film. Atmosphere is perhaps the crown jewel of the cinematography here. The film creates a palpable sense of place that is almost tactile. You can feel the cold stone underfoot, hear the faint echoes of distant footsteps, and smell the dust and aged paper lingering in the air. The use of weather elements like drifting fog, soft rain, or the golden haze of autumn light adds layers of mood, enriching scenes with a sense of time passing and secrets lingering just out of reach. These choices pull the viewer fully into the film's world, making the Forbidden City itself feel alive, a character with its own voice and will. The cinematography also masterfully builds tension through visual means. Tight framing in suspenseful scenes forces the audience's attention, while slow zooms and shifts in focus reveal details that hint at danger or revelation. The camera's eye lingers on seemingly mundane objects, a rusted key, a cracked tile, a threadbare scroll, turning them into storytelling devices that invite curiosity and suspicion. The deliberate pacing of these shots means tension builds slowly, like a simmering pot, creating a slow-burning suspense that is far more engrossing than sudden shocks or loud cues. But the film knows when to breathe and let beauty shine. Expansive panoramic shots of the Forbidden City at dawn or twilight are breathtaking, bathing the scene in warm, golden light that contrasts with the film's darker moments. The richness of color, the deep reds and golds of palace walls, the lush greens of manicured gardens, the soft blues of the twilight sky, imbues the film with a poetic sensibility. These moments offer emotional reprieves and remind us of the city's enduring grandeur and cultural significance, lending the story a timeless quality. Ultimately, the cinematography in Forbidden City is not just about making things look beautiful or dramatic. It's a fundamental part of how the story is told, how the mystery deepens, how the characters' inner worlds are revealed, and how the themes of memory, history, and power resonate visually. Through masterful use of camera work, lighting, and framing, the film transforms the Forbidden City from a mere setting into a living, breathing entity. The audience is invited not only to watch the story unfold, but to inhabit the space, feel its pulse, and be drawn into its mysteries with every frame. It is this immersive and evocative cinematography that makes Forbidden City such an unforgettable cinematic journey. The editing in Forbidden City is an absolute masterclass in how to control a film's rhythm and flow to serve both the story and the emotions at play, transforming what could have been a simple narrative into an immersive, breathing experience. From the opening scenes, the editing grabs your attention by carefully calibrating the tempo, effortlessly guiding you through the shifting moods and stakes without ever feeling rushed or sluggish. It's like the film has a heartbeat, sometimes slow and deliberate, sometimes fast and urgent, and the editors are the unseen conductors keeping everything in perfect sync. One of the most impressive things about the editing is how skillfully it balances moments of stillness with bursts of kinetic energy. In the quieter sequences, where characters reflect, connect, or unravel secrets, the editing slows down dramatically. The cuts here linger, sometimes holding on a shot just a beat longer than you expect, inviting you to soak in the details. The flicker of an expression, the subtle changes in lighting, the ambient sounds that fill the Forbidden City's vast spaces. These longer takes give the scenes a meditative quality, allowing the atmosphere to seep into your bones and the emotional stakes to quietly build. This deliberate pacing creates a sense of intimacy, pulling you closer into the characters' inner worlds and the mysteries they wrestle with. When the narrative demands heightened tension or rapid action, the editing shifts gears with nimble precision. The cuts become brisk and purposeful, weaving together quick exchanges, sweeping movements, and sudden revelations into a tapestry of excitement. Chase scenes feel like a pulse-pounding race through shadowed halls, with rhythmic cuts that mimic the characters, accelerating heartbeat and breath. Moments of confrontation snap with sharp edits that keep you on edge, never giving a chance to relax. The pacing here is tight, driving the story forward and delivering adrenaline-fueled momentum that contrasts beautifully with the film's more contemplative parts. One of the more intriguing aspects of the editing is its handling of time and perspective. Forbidden City doesn't just march in a straight line from point A to B. It layers the narrative with flashbacks, visions, and shifts in point of view that deepen the mystery and enrich the storytelling. The editors weave these elements together with remarkable clarity and style, using creative transitions such as match cuts where one image morphs seamlessly into another, or audio bridges where sound from one scene carries over into the next. These techniques prevent the non-linear structure from becoming confusing, instead making it feel like you're peeling back layers of the story's hidden truths. The smoothness of these temporal shifts keeps the audience anchored even as the plot twists and unfolds in unexpected ways. Structurally, the editing creates a rhythm that mimics natural emotional cycles: rises and falls, tension and release. Scenes are thoughtfully arranged so that moments of high drama are balanced by quieter, introspective beats. This ebb and flow mirrors how we process emotions in real life, making the viewing experience feel authentic and resonant. The editors clearly understand that storytelling is not just about what happens, but how it feels over time. By carefully modulating the pace, they ensure the audience remains invested, never overwhelmed by action or lost in lingering stillness. The film also uses editing to underscore its thematic layers. Scenes exploring memory or the passage of time are often treated with softer fades or slow dissolves, visually suggesting the way memories blur and fade. Conversely, moments of danger or emotional turmoil are edited with jarring jump cuts or quick flashes that unsettle the viewer, mirroring the character's inner turmoil. These subtle editorial choices add depth without calling attention to themselves, allowing the rhythm of the film to carry hidden meanings beneath the surface. There are moments where the editing intentionally takes its time, slowing the pace to almost a crawl. This might seem risky in a thriller or mystery, but here it works brilliantly to build mood and anticipation. These slow stretches invite the audience to really inhabit the environment. The ancient walls, the creeping shadows, the charged silence, and to feel the weight of history pressing in on the characters. This patience pays off as tension accumulates like a gathering storm, making subsequent reveals and climaxes even more satisfying. On the flip side, the editing never rushes through the emotional heart of the story. Important character moments are given room to breathe. The camera lingers on a meaningful glance, a tremor in a voice, or a quiet gesture, allowing these small details to resonate. This generous pacing in emotional beats means the film doesn't just tell you what the characters feel. It lets you experience it alongside them. Engagement is another area where the editing excels. The film avoids the common trap of over-editing, where too many cuts or flashy techniques distract rather than enhance. Instead, the editors adopt a clean, purposeful style that supports the narrative and performance without ever stealing the spotlight. Every cut, every transition feels deliberate and justified, making the flow natural and easy to follow. This clarity of rhythm and structure helps maintain immersion, drawing you deeper into the story's unfolding mystery. The film's editing also shines in the way it manages the audience's anticipation. Suspense is built not just through what is shown, but through what is withheld, and the pacing controls the timing of these reveals with expert precision. Slow, quiet moments are deliberately extended to make the viewer aware of something lurking just out of sight, while quick cuts during moments of danger or surprise jolt you awake. This control over timing creates a push-pull effect that keeps the audience emotionally off balance in the best possible way. In addition, the editor's choice of where to cut, or not cut, often enhances the performances and cinematography. Long takes allow actors to inhabit their roles fully, letting natural rhythms of speech and movement unfold without interruption. These moments feel authentic and alive, making the characters' experiences more palpable. At other times, tighter cutting speeds up the narrative and sharpens focus, ensuring that pacing never drags. Overall, the editing and pacing of Forbidden City work hand in hand to craft a cinematic journey that flows effortlessly between mystery, emotion, and action. The seamless transitions, thoughtful tempo changes, and inventive storytelling structure all contribute to a viewing experience that is as engaging as it is emotionally rich. The film's rhythm becomes a silent narrator in itself, guiding the audience through twists and turns, calm and chaos, until the final frame leaves you breathless and utterly captivated. The soundtrack and score of Forbidden City are not just an accompaniment to the film, but an essential part of its storytelling fabric, enriching every scene with layers of emotion, tension, and atmosphere that elevate the entire viewing experience. From the very first moment the music enters, it immediately establishes a mood that is both mysterious and captivating, drawing the audience deep into the film's world, where history, myth, and human drama intertwine. One of the most remarkable elements of the soundtrack is the composer's use of recurring musical motifs that act as sonic symbols throughout the film. These motifs are carefully crafted melodic or rhythmic phrases that subtly connect different narrative threads, characters, or emotional states. For instance, a haunting piano motif might appear whenever the protagonist faces a moment of doubt or inner conflict, gently reminding viewers of their personal journey without the need for dialogue. Similarly, a rhythmic drum pattern or traditional string instrument might accompany scenes that highlight the cultural and historical backdrop of the Forbidden City, embedding the setting within the music itself. These motifs are like invisible threads weaving the soundtrack and story together, creating cohesion and enhancing emotional resonance. Instrumentation plays a crucial role in the soundtrack's unique identity. The composer blends traditional instruments such as eru, guzheng, or bamboo flute with modern electronic textures and ambient soundscapes, creating a sound palette that feels simultaneously ancient and contemporary. This fusion reflects the film's thematic interplay between the timelessness of the Forbidden City's mysteries and the present-day personal struggles of its characters. The delicate plucking of traditional strings can evoke a sense of nostalgia or cultural heritage, while subtle synth layers add an eerie, otherworldly quality that amplifies the film's supernatural or psychological elements. The resulting soundscape is rich and multidimensional, inviting viewers to experience the story on both an emotional and sensory level. One of the most powerful tools the soundtrack employs is the strategic use of silence and restraint. Unlike scores that fill every moment with continuous music, Forbidden City's soundtrack embraces quietness as a way to heighten tension and focus attention. During moments of suspense or emotional intensity, the absence of music allows natural sounds, like footsteps echoing on stone floors, distant whispers, or the creaking of ancient doors, to come forward, creating an immersive and almost tactile atmosphere. These pauses give the audience space to absorb the weight of the scene, building anticipation and unease in a subtle yet effective way. The return of music after such silences feels especially impactful, as if the soundtrack itself is breathing with the rhythm of the narrative. The dynamics of the score, how it rises and falls in volume and intensity, are expertly crafted to mirror the emotional arcs of the story. In scenes of quiet reflection or sorrow, the music might be sparse and delicate, with slow, lingering notes that allow emotions to unfold gradually. In contrast, moments of danger, action, or revelation feature swelling orchestral parts, pulsating rhythms, or sharp, dissonant tones that quicken the heartbeat and increase adrenaline. This dynamic range keeps the audience emotionally engaged, supporting the film's pacing and guiding the viewer through waves of tension and release without ever feeling manipulative or overwhelming. Vocals and choral elements add another fascinating dimension to the soundtrack. Occasionally, ethereal human voices enter the score, sometimes wordless and layered, other times carrying faint traditional melodies, which inject an otherworldly or spiritual quality to key scenes. These vocals can evoke feelings of longing, sorrow, or mystical awe, enhancing the film's atmosphere and thematic depth. The subtle use of voices also bridges the gap between the human and the supernatural, reinforcing the film's exploration of history, memory, and unseen forces. Another noteworthy aspect is how the soundtrack interacts with the diegetic sounds, the sounds that exist within the film's world. Instead of treating music and sound effects as separate layers, the score often blends seamlessly with environmental noises such as wind rustling through trees, distant bells, or the murmur of crowds. This integration creates a unified sonic environment where music feels like a natural extension of the setting rather than an external addition. It helps immerse the audience fully, making the Forbidden City feel alive, almost breathing through its sounds. The score also evolves along with the characters. As the protagonists grow, face challenges, or uncover secrets, their associated musical themes transform. A simple melody might gain complexity, shift in tone, or be echoed in new instruments, reflecting changes in the character's emotional state or circumstances. This musical character development deepens the narrative, providing a subtle, non-verbal way to follow internal shifts and growth. In sequences of heightened suspense or danger, the composer avoids typical action score cliches like pounding drums or overly dramatic brass blasts. Instead, the music often uses dissonance, irregular rhythms, or minimalist motifs to create psychological tension. These choices unsettle the audience on a subconscious level, making suspense feel more organic and nuanced. Rather than relying on volume or speed alone, the score uses texture and tone to keep viewers on edge, perfectly complementing the film's mysterious and sometimes eerie atmosphere. Throughout the film, the soundtrack balances beautifully between supporting the story and standing out as a work of art in its own right. It never dominates scenes or distracts from the performances. Instead, it amplifies emotions, enhances atmosphere, and guides the audience's feelings with subtlety and sophistication. The music breathes life into the narrative, making every scene richer and every emotion more palpable. In sum, the soundtrack and score of Forbidden City are a vital force shaping the film's identity. Through a masterful blend of recurring motifs, thoughtful instrumentation, evocative vocals, strategic silence, and seamless integration with the film's sound world, the music creates an immersive, emotionally charged experience. It deepens the connection to the characters, heightens the suspense, and enriches the setting, making the soundtrack an unforgettable part of the film's storytelling power. Forbidden City is a treasure trove of rich, intertwined themes that invite audiences to embark on a deep and thought-provoking journey beyond the surface narrative. The film masterfully navigates a complex web of ideas that resonate on multiple levels, making the story not only captivating, but intellectually stimulating and emotionally profound. One of the most prominent themes is the delicate dance between tradition and modernity. Set against the backdrop of the iconic Forbidden City, a symbol of China's imperial past and cultural heritage, the film explores how these ancient traditions coexist, clash, and sometimes harmonize with the rapid pace of contemporary life. This theme doesn't manifest as a simple binary opposition, but unfolds in shades of gray, showing characters and societies grappling with preserving identity while adapting to inevitable change. It highlights the beauty and burden of history, questioning how much of the past should be held onto and what must be relinquished to move forward. The film captures the tension of this struggle in a way that feels deeply personal, reflecting the universal human experience of negotiating between where we come from and where we are going. Closely tied to this is the exploration of identity, not just personal but cultural and collective identity. Characters are seen wrestling with their sense of self as they navigate family legacies, societal expectations, and internal desires. This theme is delicately handled, revealing how identity can be fluid, contested, and layered. For example, the protagonist's journey is more than just external conflict. It is also an inward quest to understand who they truly are beneath the weight of history and circumstance. The film asks questions about the influence of heritage and environment on identity, prompting viewers to reflect on their own roots and choices. It also considers the idea that identity is not fixed but something continually shaped by experience, memory, and relationships. Power, in all its multifaceted forms, threads through the film with a subtle but compelling presence. Rather than presenting power solely as overt domination or political control, Forbidden City delves into the nuanced ways power operates, through tradition, belief systems, social structures, and psychological influence. The film examines how authority is maintained and challenged, revealing that power dynamics are rarely straightforward. It explores the tension between visible control and unseen forces, showing that power can be exercised through cultural norms, fear, manipulation, or quiet resistance. This nuanced portrayal encourages the audience to think critically about power in their own contexts and the ways it shapes lives and societies, often invisibly. Memory and history emerge as hauntingly beautiful and sometimes painful themes. The Forbidden City itself is a powerful metaphor for the weight of history, an ancient structure filled with stories, secrets, and ghosts of the past. The film suggests that history is a living entity, constantly reinterpreted, forgotten, or hidden, influencing present realities in profound ways. Memory is portrayed as both a blessing and a burden. It preserves identity and wisdom, but also traps characters in cycles of regret or unresolved trauma. The film's use of flashbacks, symbolism, and mystical elements reinforces this idea, blurring the lines between past and present, and inviting viewers to consider how their own memories shape their lives. This theme resonates beyond the film, touching on collective memory, cultural preservation, and the human need to reconcile with the past. The supernatural elements are cleverly integrated not just for spectacle, but to deepen these thematic explorations. Ghostly apparitions, mysterious rituals, and mystical symbols serve as reminders of the unseen forces that influence human existence, whether spiritual, psychological, or cultural. This layer adds a dimension of mystery and invites contemplation on the nature of belief, fate, and the unknown. The film plays with the idea that stories, myths, and legends hold power and meaning, shaping behavior and perception. By weaving supernatural motifs into the narrative, the film challenges viewers to question reality and consider alternative ways of understanding the world. Connection and isolation form a poignant emotional core. The characters' interactions reveal a deep yearning for belonging, understanding, and reconciliation, even as they face barriers of fear, pride, or circumstance. Relationships in the film are rich with complexity, whether between family members, friends, or strangers, and highlight the human struggle to bridge divides and heal wounds. This theme grounds the film's more abstract ideas in relatable emotional experiences, making the story resonate on a personal level. It also underscores the importance of empathy and communication in overcoming internal and external conflicts. Another fascinating theme is the interplay between fate and free will. Throughout the film, characters confront forces and events that seem predetermined or influenced by legacy, tradition, or supernatural design. Yet they also wrestle with their desire to make choices, assert agency, and change their paths. This tension creates narrative suspense and philosophical depth, prompting viewers to reflect on how much control we really have over our lives. The film avoids simplistic answers, instead embracing the ambiguity and complexity of this human dilemma. Symbolism and visual motifs enhance the thematic richness. Recurring images like reflections, shadows, ancient artifacts, and shifting light act as metaphors for hidden truths, duality, and transformation. These elements invite viewers to look beyond the obvious and engage with the film on a symbolic level. They add layers of meaning that reward attentive viewing and spark curiosity about the film's deeper messages. What makes the thematic exploration in Forbidden City especially effective is how seamlessly it's woven into the storytelling and character arcs. The themes arise naturally through plot developments, dialogue, and cinematic language, rather than feeling imposed or preachy. This allows audiences to discover and interpret the ideas in their own way, making the experience more personal and engaging. The film also plays with contrasts and paradoxes, the ancient and the modern, the visible and the hidden, the individual and the collective, certainty and doubt, creating a rich tapestry that mirrors the complexities of real life. This nuanced approach invites viewers to embrace ambiguity and think critically about the stories they live by. Ultimately, Forbidden City is a layered meditation on human experience, culture, and time. It invites audiences into a world where history pulses beneath the present. Identity is a journey rather than a destination, and power and memory shape destinies in mysterious ways. The film's themes linger in the mind, encouraging reflection and conversation, making it a compelling and rewarding cinematic adventure that goes far beyond surface thrills. In Forbidden City, the visual effects and CGI are woven seamlessly into the fabric of the film's world, creating an immersive experience that pulls the audience right into the heart of the story. From the opening moments, it's evident that the filmmakers have struck a careful balance between the tangible and the fantastical, ensuring that the effects don't distract or overwhelm, but instead enhance every scene with subtlety and precision. The film's visual effects team clearly understands that the true power of CGI lies not in flashy displays, but in its ability to deepen the atmosphere, enrich the narrative, and support the emotional undertones of the story. One of the standout qualities of the visual effects in Forbidden City is how naturally they blend with the practical elements on screen. The production leans heavily on meticulously crafted physical sets, authentic period props, and carefully staged action sequences, all of which ground the film in a sense of realism and tactile authenticity. These practical effects provide a solid foundation, giving the actors and the story something tangible to interact with. When CGI enters the picture, it acts as an extension of these real-world components, augmenting, rather than replacing, the visuals. For example, the mystical glow of ancient runes etched into stone walls is rendered digitally with such finesse that it looks like it's truly emanating light within the physical environment. This thoughtful integration prevents the CGI from feeling artificial or out of place, preserving the film's immersive quality. The film's supernatural and fantasy elements benefit enormously from this symbiotic relationship between practical effects and CGI. In scenes where the boundary between the physical world and the mystical realm blurs, the CGI is used to conjure ethereal spirits, ghostly apparitions, and magical phenomena that are visually stunning yet believable within the film's unique universe. These sequences are crafted with an artist's eye, never bombastic or excessive, but always purposeful. The effects don't dominate the screen, but instead invite the audience to lean in closer, to wonder and be captivated. This measured use of CGI elevates the film's fantastical elements without detracting from its emotional core. Detail is king in the visual effects department of Forbidden City. From the way moonlight shimmers on ancient, weathered rooftops to the subtle flicker of flame casting dynamic shadows, every frame is packed with intricate visual touches that reward close viewing. The digital artists have painstakingly created textures and movements that mirror the natural world, whether it's the delicate fluttering of silk banners or the faint mist curling around temple steps. These details do more than beautify the screen. They add layers of depth and richness to the environment, turning the Forbidden City itself into a living, breathing character within the story. A significant factor in the success of the visual effects is the film's careful attention to lighting and color grading, which seamlessly ties CGI elements to live-action footage. The digital effects are painstakingly calibrated to match the lighting conditions of each scene. Whether bathed in the warm glow of sunset, the cold blue of moonlight, or the flickering amber of lanterns. This ensures that shadows fall naturally, reflections behave as expected, and atmospheric elements like fog or dust interact convincingly with the environment. Such meticulous work prevents the dreaded CGI pop-out effect, where digital elements jar against the physical world, instead creating a harmonious visual palette that draws viewers effortlessly into the film's universe. The film also employs visual effects in imaginative ways that go beyond mere spectacle. For example, internal character emotions or thematic ideas are represented through subtle visual distortions or symbolic shifts in the environment, achieved with careful digital manipulation. A character's rising anxiety might be mirrored by a slow ripple in the air or a flicker in the shadows, adding a poetic dimension to the storytelling. This artistic use of CGI enriches the narrative by offering visual metaphors that engage the audience on a subconscious level, deepening their emotional connection to the characters and themes. Importantly, Forbidden City avoids the trap of overusing CGI in favor of quality over quantity. The effects are thoughtfully placed, ensuring that every digital enhancement serves a clear purpose in the narrative or atmosphere. Rather than bombarding the audience with constant digital wizardry, the film allows moments of calm and realism to breathe, making the occasions when effects do appear all the more striking and memorable. This restraint is a mark of confident filmmaking, showing a respect for the audience's intelligence and the story's integrity. The practical effects, from authentic costumes to carefully constructed sets, lend an irreplaceable texture and authenticity that CGI alone could never achieve. When combined with the digital effects, this creates a visually layered film that feels both grounded in history and touched by magic. The interplay between the two types of effects showcases the best of both worlds, resulting in a visual experience that is immersive, believable, and artistically rich. For viewers who appreciate the craft behind filmmaking, the visual effects in Forbidden City offer a masterclass in how technology and artistry can complement each other. They provide spectacle where needed, subtlety where appropriate, and a deep sense of place throughout. The effects team's work invites the audience to not just watch, but to feel the pulse of the city, the weight of its history, the mystery of its legends, and the vibrancy of its present. It's a visual journey that is as intellectually satisfying as it is emotionally stirring, making Forbidden City a feast for the eyes and the imagination. In Forbidden City, the set design and locations stand as pillars of the film's immersive power, carefully crafted to pull audiences deep into a world that feels both authentic and mesmerizing. The production design goes far beyond just creating a pretty backdrop. It builds a fully realized environment that tells its own story alongside the characters, enriching every scene with layers of cultural and historical significance. Walking through the film's spaces, you can almost feel the weight of centuries of history pressing down. The echoes of past events whispered in the textures of walls, the intricate patterns of tile work, and the careful placement of each object. The Forbidden City is not just a setting, but a living organism within the narrative, breathing life into the drama unfolding on screen. The team behind the set design has taken painstaking care to reconstruct architectural styles that are faithful to the period and culture the film explores. Grand Palace halls boast soaring ceilings with detailed woodwork and gilded accents that speak of imperial majesty, while more humble quarters feature rough-hewn wooden beams and worn stone floors that suggest a long history of human activity and stories etched into every surface. The contrasts between opulence and austerity aren't just visual. They reflect the social and political tensions at the core of the story, visually reinforcing themes of power, tradition, and rebellion. This balance between grandeur and grit ensures the world feels lived in, believable, and textured, inviting the audience to absorb every nuance. The locations themselves are chosen and designed with narrative intention. Expansive courtyards framed by blossoming gardens serve as places of reflection, dialogue, and political maneuvering, while narrow, shadowed alleyways and hidden chambers become arenas of conspiracy and danger. Each space carries a distinct atmosphere, shaped by its design and lighting, that influences how characters move, interact, and reveal themselves. This deliberate use of space adds a cinematic rhythm to the film, where the environment actively shapes the emotional landscape. The audience is subtly guided through the story not just by dialogue and action, but by the very architecture and decor around the characters. Props and set dressings are handled with equal care and creativity. Everything from ancient scrolls and ceremonial swords to everyday ceramics and textiles is meticulously selected or crafted to add depth and authenticity. These objects aren't mere decoration. They're imbued with symbolic meaning and historical context. For instance, a weathered family portrait hung crookedly in a dimly lit room might hint at fractured relationships and lost heritage, while a finely embroidered robe resting on a throne speaks volumes about status and legacy. Even small details, like the placement of a jade pendant or the flicker of a paper lantern, serve as narrative cues that reward attentive viewers and enhance the story's richness. What makes the set design particularly compelling is how it manages to feel both expansive and intimate at once. The film skillfully combines shooting in real historical locations with the construction of detailed sets, allowing the filmmakers to capture authentic textures and atmospheres while maintaining creative control. Filming at ancient temples, gardens, or historic sites grounds the film in reality, lending undeniable credibility and scale. Meanwhile, the constructed interiors provide spaces tailored exactly to the story's needs, from hidden passageways perfect for secret meetings to throne rooms designed to impress and intimidate. This blend gives the film a dynamic visual palette that feels immersive and complete. Lighting and color choices further elevate the design work, painting each scene with a mood that deepens the viewer's emotional engagement. Warm golden light floods scenes of celebration or hope, infusing them with optimism and life, while cooler tones and shadow-heavy corners underscore moments of danger, deceit, or sorrow. These shifts in color and brightness aren't just technical choices, but storytelling devices that shape how the audience experiences the narrative. A quiet scene bathed in soft candlelight might feel intimate and secretive, while a harsh midday sun might cast unforgiving clarity on a confrontation. This interplay of light and design ensures every location communicates more than just physical space. It conveys atmosphere, tension, and meaning. Moreover, the design team doesn't shy away from embedding symbolism and thematic resonance within the physical environments. The layout of rooms, the choice of decor, and even the wear and tear on surfaces can subtly reflect character arcs or societal dynamics. For example, a crumbling wall might symbolize a decaying regime, while a meticulously maintained garden could represent hope or renewal. These visual metaphors enrich the viewing experience by adding subtext that sharpens the story's emotional and intellectual impact without spelling everything out. In essence, the set design and locations in Forbidden City do much more than simply hold the action. They actively participate in it. They create a believable, layered world that draws viewers in and keeps them captivated, inviting them to explore and discover the many stories hidden within the spaces themselves. For fans of films where atmosphere and environment are as vital as plot and character, Forbidden City delivers a feast of visual storytelling, crafted with passion, precision, and an eye for detail that rewards every moment spent on screen. In Forbidden City, the dialogue and script function as a vibrant heartbeat that energizes the entire film, bringing an exceptional level of depth, emotion, and wit to the storytelling. Far from being a mere vessel for moving the plot along, the script is a carefully crafted masterpiece that breathes life into every character and scene, making the conversations feel as rich and textured as the film's visual landscape. The writing strikes a remarkable balance, managing to be both polished and natural, allowing the dialogue to flow effortlessly while still packing an emotional and intellectual punch that keeps the audience fully engaged throughout the movie. One of the most impressive aspects of the script is its ability to capture the distinctive voices of each character with great precision. Every character, from the highest-ranking nobles to the humblest servants, speaks in a way that reflects their personality, background, and motivations. The dialogue respects these differences in tone and style, resulting in conversations that feel genuine and purposeful. The protagonist's lines might be infused with youthful idealism and passion, while a seasoned courtier's speech carries the weight of experience and subtle political maneuvering. This vocal diversity helps to create a multi-layered narrative where each interaction offers insights into who the characters truly are and what drives them. Humor and wit are skillfully interwoven into the dialogue, serving as a refreshing counterbalance to the film's heavier dramatic moments. The script employs clever wordplay, subtle sarcasm, and sharp repartee that feel organic rather than forced. These moments of levity often arise unexpectedly, offering the audience a chance to catch their breath and connect with the characters on a more human level. For instance, a quick-witted comeback during a tense confrontation can reveal underlying tensions or alliances, making the dialogue not only entertaining, but also a strategic tool within the story. The humor enhances the pacing and tone of the film, preventing it from becoming too solemn, while also deepening the emotional resonance of more serious scenes. Emotionally, the dialogue carries a remarkable weight that resonates throughout the film's key moments. The writing delves deeply into themes of loyalty, betrayal, identity, and sacrifice, crafting conversations that reveal the inner turmoil and growth of the characters without resorting to melodrama. Scenes where characters confess their fears, express longing, or confront painful truths are written with a delicate hand, allowing actors to layer their performances with subtlety and nuance. These exchanges often feel raw and intimate, creating moments of vulnerability that draw the audience closer to the characters' emotional journeys. The script's trust in the viewer's intelligence means it often suggests more than it states outright, inviting interpretation and reflection. Among the script's highlights are standout lines and exchanges that linger long after the film ends. These memorable phrases do more than just sound good. They encapsulate the film's central themes or reveal profound truths about the characters. Some lines carry poetic elegance, while others deliver biting clarity or philosophical depth. These quotes often become emblematic of the film's spirit, serving as thematic touchstones that audiences can recall and reflect upon. They also give the actors rich material to make moments truly shine, elevating the dialogue from mere conversation to powerful storytelling. The rhythm and pacing of the dialogue are meticulously tailored to the film's shifting moods and narrative arcs. The script knows when to slow down, allowing silence or pauses to speak volumes, and when to accelerate, driving tension and urgency through rapid exchanges. This careful modulation prevents the dialogue from ever feeling static or monotonous, instead creating a dynamic conversational flow that mirrors the emotional highs and lows of the story. The timing of each line, whether delivered with hesitation, urgency, or confidence, adds layers of meaning that enhance the film's immersive quality. World building through dialogue is another strength of the script. The language used incorporates culturally specific idioms, historical references, and symbolic expressions that enrich the film's setting and backstory without overwhelming the audience. Characters discuss customs, traditions, and political realities in ways that feel natural and integrated into their interactions, providing important context and depth to the narrative. This approach helps the audience feel immersed in the world of Forbidden City without relying on heavy-handed exposition or awkward info dumps, keeping the focus on character and story. Furthermore, the script uses dialogue as a means of exploring and developing relationships. Whether it's tension-filled confrontations, tender moments of reconciliation, or playful banter between allies, the exchanges reveal the evolving dynamics between characters in a way that is both believable and emotionally impactful. The nuanced writing captures the complexities of trust, loyalty, love, and betrayal, making the interpersonal drama feel as important and engaging as the overarching plot. Overall, the dialogue and script in Forbidden City are masterfully constructed to offer a rich, engaging experience that entertains, moves, and provokes thought. The words spoken on screen do much more than narrate events. They reveal the heart and soul of the characters, deepen the themes, and enliven the story's cultural and emotional textures. Whether it's a moment of sharp wit, a stirring declaration, or a quietly powerful confession, the script delivers dialogue that resonates and leaves a lasting impression, making it one of the film's standout features. When diving into the genre execution of Forbidden City, you quickly realize this film is not content with merely ticking boxes or playing it safe. It approaches its genre with a knowing wink and a sense of adventure, embracing familiar elements that audiences love, but also boldly twisting and turning to keep viewers engaged and surprised. The film's ability to both honor and reinvent genre conventions is one of its most compelling qualities, making it stand out in a crowded field where many movies can feel formulaic or repetitive. At its core, Forbidden City uses the foundation of its genre, whether that's historical thriller, action-adventure, or dramatic mystery, as a launching pad rather than a cage. The film recognizes the power of time-tested staples, thrilling fight sequences that pulse with energy and precision, suspenseful set pieces that build tension layer by layer, and emotional storylines that ground the spectacle in human experience. These elements are all present and handled with a high level of craftsmanship, satisfying audience expectations for excitement, intrigue, and emotional depth. Yet the film never settles for a simple rehash. Instead, it uses these conventions as a canvas for creative reinterpretation. Take the action sequences, for example. While there are adrenaline-pumping battles and chase scenes, they are choreographed and framed with a fresh eye. Instead of overwhelming the viewer with non-stop spectacle, the film carefully integrates action into the narrative, using it to reveal character traits or shift power dynamics rather than as an end in itself. This approach not only keeps the momentum strong, but also ensures that each action moment carries meaning and weight. It's a balancing act that many genre films struggle with, but Forbidden City manages to pull off seamlessly, giving the audience thrilling visuals without sacrificing story or character. Suspense in Forbidden City is another area where the film shines by mixing tradition with innovation. It employs classic techniques like tight framing, clever use of silence, and pacing that ratchets up anxiety. But it also plays with perspective and timing to keep viewers guessing. The narrative occasionally shifts in ways that disrupt the usual rhythm of tension and release, making the audience more actively engaged in piecing together clues and anticipating what comes next. This fresh take on suspense elevates the film above straightforward thrillers, creating a more immersive and intellectually stimulating experience. Humor is one of the most delightful surprises in the film's genre execution. Rather than inserting jokes or light moments randomly, Forbidden City weaves humor naturally into character interactions and situational irony. This not only humanizes the characters, making them feel more real and relatable, but also provides a welcome contrast to the film's darker and more intense moments. The timing and tone of the humor feel organic, often arising from sharp dialogue or the absurdity of certain situations, which helps maintain the film's emotional balance. This blending of humor with suspense and drama enriches the narrative texture, making the story feel multidimensional rather than one note. Drama is the emotional backbone of Forbidden City, and the film embraces it fully without slipping into melodrama. The story explores complex themes: loyalty, identity, sacrifice, and power, with nuance and subtlety. Characters are not caricatures, but fully fleshed out individuals whose motivations and conflicts feel believable and compelling. The film takes the time to delve into their internal struggles, relationships, and growth, which adds emotional resonance and depth to the genre framework. This careful layering of drama ensures the stakes feel real, and the audience remains invested beyond the surface-level thrills. What really sets Forbidden City apart in its genre execution is its fearless introduction of fresh ideas and cultural perspectives. The film doesn't just retell familiar stories in a new setting. It infuses the genre with unique elements drawn from its cultural context, historical inspirations, and thematic ambitions. These innovations breathe new life into well-worn tropes, allowing the story to resonate on multiple levels and invite deeper reflection. This inventive spirit means that even viewers well-versed in the genre will find surprises and moments of originality that keep the experience exciting and unpredictable. Pacing and narrative structure are also handled with great care to serve the genre's needs while maintaining a cohesive and engaging flow. The film avoids common pitfalls like uneven pacing or overlong exposition by balancing high-energy sequences with quieter, character-driven moments. Suspense is built gradually, and emotional beats are timed to maximize impact. This rhythm keeps viewers hooked from the opening scene to the final frame, allowing for a satisfying blend of action, intrigue, and emotional payoff. Ultimately, Forbidden City exemplifies how genre films can honor tradition while pushing boundaries. It embraces the thrills, tension, and drama audiences expect, but adds layers of wit, cultural richness, and storytelling innovation that elevate it beyond cliché. The film's ability to blend action, suspense, humor, and heartfelt drama in fresh and unexpected ways makes its genre execution not only effective, but genuinely entertaining and memorable. This dynamic approach invites viewers to enjoy familiar pleasures while also experiencing something new and invigorating, a true mark of skilled filmmaking within any genre. Forbidden City doesn't just serve up an exciting story set against a dramatic backdrop. It also carries a rich and thought-provoking social and cultural commentary that adds layers of meaning beneath its surface thrills. What's remarkable about this film is how effortlessly it integrates these themes into the narrative, so they don't feel like afterthoughts or heavy-handed messages. Instead, they pulse through the characters' journeys and the story's conflicts, inviting the audience to engage with real-world issues while still enjoying the entertainment. One of the key areas where Forbidden City shines is its exploration of identity and belonging amid cultural and political turmoil. The film captures the tension between preserving tradition and adapting to a rapidly changing world, a struggle that resonates widely in today's global society. Characters grapple with questions of loyalty, not just to individuals or factions, but to larger ideas of heritage, community, and self-definition. These conflicts don't just serve as plot devices. They become the emotional core of the film, giving audiences a window into the complex ways culture shapes personal choices and relationships. The film asks its viewers to consider what it means to belong, who decides cultural identity, and how history and memory influence present-day realities. The political undertones are woven in with a delicate hand. Instead of overtly preaching or making blunt statements, Forbidden City presents political and social struggles as lived experiences through its characters and settings. The nuanced portrayal of power dynamics, whether between ruling elites, oppressed communities, or individuals caught in the crossfire, adds depth to the story. This allows the audience to explore issues like corruption, resistance, and justice within the narrative context, making these complex topics more accessible and emotionally impactful. By showing the human side of political conflict, the film encourages empathy and reflection without ever feeling didactic. Another fascinating element is how the film addresses modernity versus tradition. The push and pull between old and new values is a constant undercurrent, portrayed through characters who embody different facets of this struggle. Some cling tightly to established customs, while others seek change and challenge the status quo. This dynamic creates rich dramatic tension and invites viewers to think about the ways culture evolves and adapts. It also highlights how personal identity is often caught in this clash, with characters negotiating their place in a world that is both familiar and shifting. The film's ability to dramatize this universal tension gives it a timeless quality, making it relevant across cultures and eras. Forbidden City also touches on issues of gender and social roles with subtlety and respect. The film presents characters whose experiences challenge traditional expectations, offering a broader view of societal norms and how individuals navigate or resist them. These portrayals add nuance to the story and contribute to its layered social commentary. By highlighting the diversity of perspectives and struggles within the community, the film avoids stereotypes and embraces complexity, enriching the audience's understanding of the world it depicts. What sets this film apart is how naturally the social and cultural commentary fits into the flow of the story. The themes arise organically from character interactions, plot developments, and the richly detailed world-building, rather than feeling inserted or forced. This seamless integration allows the film to maintain its momentum and emotional engagement, while offering viewers plenty to ponder beneath the surface. The balance between entertainment and thoughtful reflection is skillfully managed, making the experience both fun and meaningful. Additionally, Forbidden City encourages audiences to think about the global context of cultural exchange and conflict. It subtly reflects on how histories intersect, how political decisions ripple across borders, and how individuals negotiate identity within larger social forces. This global sensibility gives the film a broad appeal and invites viewers to consider their own place within interconnected cultural landscapes. The film's social commentary doesn't just stop at the local level. It echoes wider conversations about cultural preservation, modernization, and the challenges of coexistence in a diverse world. The film's handling of sensitive topics is marked by a careful balance of honesty and respect. It acknowledges the complexity of issues such as political oppression, social injustice, and cultural erasure without oversimplifying or resorting to cliches. Characters are portrayed with empathy, and their struggles are given space to unfold naturally. This approach allows the audience to engage with difficult subjects in a way that feels genuine and impactful, avoiding the pitfalls of sensationalism or moralizing. Ultimately, Forbidden City demonstrates that a film can be both thrilling and thought-provoking by weaving social and cultural commentary into its core storytelling. The movie invites viewers to enjoy the suspense and drama, while also encouraging deeper reflection on identity, power, tradition, and change. This layered storytelling enriches the viewing experience, making Forbidden City not just an engaging film, but also a meaningful exploration of the world we live in. The way it handles these themes with subtlety, intelligence, and heart ensures that it stays with audiences long after the credits roll, sparking conversations and new perspectives along the way. Forbidden City excels at creating an emotional connection that runs deep, making the audience feel like they are not just observers, but active participants in the unfolding drama. From the very beginning, the film establishes an emotional rhythm that pulls viewers into the world of its characters, making every moment count. This emotional engagement is not superficial or fleeting. It's layered and sustained, inviting viewers to invest their feelings and attention fully in the story. One of the remarkable strengths of Forbidden City is how it balances a wide spectrum of emotions, making the viewing experience rich and dynamic. The film masterfully weaves humor into its narrative, not just as comic relief, but as a genuine part of the characters' personalities and relationships. These lighter moments serve as breathers between intense sequences and deepen the audience's connection by showing the humanity and vulnerability beneath the surface tension. The humor feels authentic and earned, sparking spontaneous laughter that breaks down barriers between the screen and the viewer, creating a warm sense of intimacy. But Forbidden City doesn't stop at laughter. It also ventures boldly into moments of raw emotion and vulnerability. The film doesn't shy away from sadness, loss, or despair, yet it presents these feelings with sensitivity and depth. When characters face heartbreak or personal crisis, those scenes hit with surprising emotional weight because the audience has already grown attached to these individuals. The film's emotional punches land precisely because the characters feel real and relatable, not just vehicles for plot. These moments often linger long after the film ends, resonating with viewers and inviting reflection on the universal human experiences of pain and healing. Excitement and suspense are threaded expertly throughout the film, providing an adrenaline rush that keeps the audience hooked. The film builds tension carefully, with pacing that escalates and relaxes at just the right moments to maximize emotional impact. Heart-pounding sequences and dramatic reveals come with enough setup to feel satisfying rather than jarring. This skillful management of rhythm ensures that viewers stay engaged, their emotions riding the highs and lows in sync with the story. The adrenaline doesn't overwhelm the narrative but complements it, adding urgency and stakes that make the characters' journeys feel vital and consequential. Forbidden City also knows how to surprise and shock its audience in ways that feel authentic and meaningful rather than gratuitous. Unexpected plot twists and character decisions challenge viewers' assumptions, making the emotional experience unpredictable and fresh. These shocks aren't just for thrills. They deepen the narrative complexity and prompt audiences to reconsider what they thought they knew about the story and its players. This unpredictability keeps viewers emotionally alert and intellectually engaged, eager to see how the story unfolds. One of the film's greatest achievements is its ability to spark ongoing discussion and repeated viewings. The narrative is layered with nuances, subtle clues, and thematic richness that reward attention and curiosity. Viewers often find themselves revisiting the film to catch details they missed or to appreciate the intricate craftsmanship behind the story and performances. This quality turns Forbidden City into more than just a one-time entertainment. It becomes a shared cultural experience that invites analysis, debate, and personal interpretation. Fans might find themselves discussing favorite scenes, character motivations, or the film's symbolic elements long after the credits roll, which speaks to its lasting emotional and intellectual impact. The emotional resonance of Forbidden City also thrives because of its relatable themes and characters. The struggles, desires, and conflicts portrayed are universal enough to connect with a broad audience, yet specific enough to feel grounded and authentic. Viewers see parts of themselves in the characters' flaws and strengths, making the emotional highs and lows feel personal. This identification fosters empathy, turning moments of tension, joy, or sorrow into shared emotional experiences rather than distant storytelling. In addition, the film creates a strong sense of community among its audience. Watching Forbidden City feels like entering a conversation about identity, choice, and resilience that extends beyond the screen. This communal feeling enhances the emotional engagement, as viewers find themselves part of a larger dialogue about the themes the film explores. The shared experience of witnessing these emotional journeys builds connections not only between the characters and viewers, but also among the viewers themselves. Lastly, The film's emotional impact is heightened by its technical achievements, music, cinematography, editing, all working in harmony to amplify feelings. The score underscores emotional beats without overwhelming them. The visuals capture subtle expressions and sweeping moods, and the editing maintains a rhythm that keeps emotional momentum alive. These elements combine to create a fully immersive emotional experience that envelopes the audience, making the feelings on screen resonate in the theater or living room as if they are happening right in front of you. Overall, Forbidden City is a film that understands the power of emotional engagement and uses every tool at its disposal to draw the audience in, keep them invested, and leave them thinking and feeling long after the film ends. It delivers laughter, tears, excitement, and surprise in a carefully crafted blend that feels natural and deeply satisfying. The film invites viewers not just to watch, but to connect, reflect, and return again and again, making it a truly memorable cinematic experience. When we place Forbidden City side by side with other films within its genre, franchise, or even the director's previous work, what immediately stands out is how it manages to carve its own distinct identity while still honoring the elements that fans cherish. In many ways, it acts as a bridge between tradition and innovation, paying homage to the tried-and-true aspects of its genre, but then daring to take leaps that push those conventions into new territory. This approach makes it a standout because it doesn't settle for mere replication or safe storytelling. Instead, it invites audiences to experience something familiar yet refreshingly different. Taking a closer look at the genre context, many films in this category tend to stick to a formula that has been proven to work, introducing archetypal characters, predictable plot twists, and a rhythm that ensures steady pacing but rarely surprises. Forbidden City respects those foundations, but then sprinkles in layers of complexity that elevate the story beyond the ordinary. The narrative avoids falling into the trap of clichés by incorporating intricate character backstories, morally ambiguous decisions, and thematic depth that gives the audience more to chew on. Instead of presenting characters as one-dimensional heroes or villains, the film explores their motivations and conflicts with nuance, encouraging viewers to empathize with their struggles. This deepened emotional engagement differentiates it from other entries that might focus more on action or spectacle alone. When compared to other films in the same franchise, or ones that share a similar setting or style, Forbidden City pushes boundaries in ways that reinvigorate the series. Where previous installments might have played it safe to please core fans, this movie embraces risks in storytelling and visual style that breathe new life into familiar material. It's as if the filmmakers took stock of what worked and what didn't in past efforts and decided to shake things up, crafting a narrative that surprises while still feeling cohesive within the broader universe. This fresh perspective prevents franchise fatigue, a common pitfall where sequels or related films become repetitive or stale, and instead sparks renewed interest and enthusiasm. Looking at the director's filmography, Forbidden City often feels like a mature continuation and evolution of their artistic voice. Viewers who have followed the director's previous films might recognize hallmark techniques, such as a signature use of color, a certain fluidity in camera movement, or thematic obsessions with identity and power. But here those elements are presented with more polish and creative confidence. The director seems to have taken lessons from earlier projects and woven them into a more ambitious and layered tapestry, blending style and substance seamlessly. This progression is exciting to witness because it showcases a filmmaker who is not resting on past successes, but actively refining their craft and experimenting with new narrative and visual ideas. Technically, Forbidden City also holds its own when compared with other contemporary films in the genre. Its cinematography, for example, is not just about capturing beautiful shots, but about using camera angles, lighting, and framing to enhance mood and character psychology. The soundtrack and score aren't mere background noise, but carefully designed to complement the emotional landscape of the film, making scenes more immersive and impactful. Even the visual effects, whether subtle or spectacular, are integrated thoughtfully so they serve the story rather than overshadow it. This level of craftsmanship sets it apart from many peers that might rely heavily on spectacle without the same attention to narrative coherence or emotional depth. What's particularly compelling about Forbidden City is how it balances the expectations of genre fans with fresh storytelling ambitions. It understands the importance of delivering on genre promises, whether that means tension, action, romance, or mystery, but it doesn't let these elements box it in. Instead, it plays with these conventions, sometimes subverting them or combining them in unusual ways, which keeps the experience unpredictable and engaging. This dynamic approach prevents the film from feeling formulaic and instead gives it an organic energy, like watching a familiar story told by a storyteller who's adding unexpected twists and personal flair. Furthermore, the film's thematic richness and emotional resonance elevate it beyond typical genre fare. While many similar films might focus primarily on plot mechanics or visual thrills, Forbidden City invites viewers to reflect on deeper questions related to identity, power, loyalty, and cultural heritage. These themes are woven organically into the story rather than feeling tacked on, which lends the film an added layer of meaning and relevance. This thoughtful integration makes it not just entertaining, but intellectually stimulating, appealing to audiences who appreciate stories that resonate on multiple levels. In the landscape of franchise films, Forbidden City also stands out for its willingness to explore character growth and moral complexity in ways that some other entries shy away from. Rather than sticking to clear-cut heroes and villains, the film presents characters whose choices and motivations blur these lines, inviting viewers to grapple with ambiguity and empathy. This depth enriches the viewing experience by making the stakes feel more real and the outcomes less predictable, encouraging a more active and invested audience engagement. Ultimately, what makes Forbidden City distinctive in comparison to its peers is its combination of respect for genre traditions with a bold creative spirit. It honors what came before by delivering the core elements that fans expect, but it also challenges the audience by introducing novel storytelling techniques, richer character exploration, and thematic sophistication. This blend creates a film that feels both comfortably familiar and excitingly new. A cinematic experience that rewards longtime fans and newcomers alike. It's this balance that positions Forbidden City as a memorable and significant entry within its genre and beyond, making it a film that invites repeated viewings, spirited discussion, and lasting appreciation. Forbidden City is truly a masterclass in weaving symbolism and metaphor throughout its narrative, creating an experience that operates on multiple levels and keeps viewers captivated long after the credits roll. These deeper layers of meaning don't just exist in isolation. They're intricately embedded into the film's visual language, story arcs, character development, and even dialogue. This rich tapestry of symbolism invites audiences to dive beneath the surface and engage with the film in a way that's both intellectually stimulating and emotionally resonant. Starting with the setting itself, the Forbidden City is much more than just a grand architectural marvel or historical locale. It stands as a living symbol of power, tradition, and secrecy. The imposing walls serve a dual purpose. They protect but also confine. This duality reflects the core tension experienced by the characters who inhabit or interact with this space. On one hand, the city offers sanctuary and order, but on the other, it traps individuals in cycles of political intrigue and personal limitation. This tension is visually reinforced through shots of towering gates, winding passageways, and shadowy alcoves, reminding viewers that beneath beauty and authority lies a world fraught with control and hidden dangers. Mirrors are used with great intentionality throughout the film, emerging as powerful symbols of identity, self-examination, and duality. Scenes where characters face their reflections often coincide with moments of reckoning, when they must confront their true selves, their fears, or the consequences of their actions. These reflective moments serve as metaphors for internal conflict, suggesting that the greatest battles are fought not just between people, but within the mind and soul. The mirror's fragmented reflections at times also hint at fractured identities or the dual lives many characters lead, underscoring themes of deception and hidden truths. Shadows play a similarly evocative role. They creep over faces, walls, and objects, casting an almost tangible sense of ambiguity over who or what can be trusted. This visual motif highlights the murky moral waters the characters navigate, where the line between heroism and villainy blurs. The play of light and shadow creates a dynamic tension, adding layers of mystery and suspense. It visually conveys that what is visible on the surface rarely tells the whole story, inviting audiences to question appearances and dig deeper. Another compelling metaphor comes in the form of broken objects, whether it's a shattered heirloom, cracked porcelain, or fragmented glass. These visual cues symbolize broken relationships, disrupted legacies, and the fragile nature of trust. They appear at pivotal narrative moments to underline the shattering impact of betrayal, loss, or irreversible change. The fragility of these items parallels the vulnerability of the characters and the world they inhabit, making their restoration or destruction metaphorically significant for the story's emotional arc. Color usage in Forbidden City is another profound layer of symbolism, carefully crafted to enhance mood, tone, and thematic resonance. Deep reds dominate scenes of passion, conflict, and sacrifice, evoking visceral reactions that connect the audience to the heightened stakes on screen. Conversely, cool blues and muted grays underscore moments of introspection, isolation, or cold calculation. These color choices are not random, but deliberately woven into the visual narrative, helping to guide the viewer's emotional journey. For example, a scene drenched in blue lighting might signal a character's loneliness or detachment, while a sudden burst of red could herald an eruption of violence or emotional intensity. Nature elements, water, fire, and wind, also carry rich metaphorical meanings in the film's storytelling. Water surfaces in scenes symbolizing change, cleansing, or the uncovering of hidden truths. Its fluidity and depth serve as metaphors for transformation and emotional release. Fire, meanwhile, represents destruction but also renewal, appearing during key plot points that signify both an end and a new beginning. Wind, often unseen but felt, symbolizes unseen forces shaping the characters' destinies, the passage of time, or the uncontrollable elements of fate. These natural metaphors anchor the story in a universal context, connecting personal struggles to larger cycles and rhythms. Even the film's dialogue is layered with metaphorical significance. Characters frequently use language that resonates beyond its immediate context, drawing on cultural or historical allusions that enrich the narrative. These verbal metaphors add texture and depth, turning seemingly ordinary conversations into meaningful exchanges packed with subtext. This attention to linguistic detail invites viewers to engage actively with the story, piecing together clues and themes hidden in plain sight. Together, these symbolic elements do more than decorate the story. They actively shape how the audience experiences Forbidden City. They create a film that's not only visually stunning, but also intellectually engaging, encouraging viewers to reflect on themes of identity, power, freedom, and sacrifice. These metaphors deepen the emotional impact by connecting the characters' journeys to universal human experiences, making the story resonate on a personal level. What makes this layering so effective is how seamlessly these symbols and motifs are integrated. They never feel forced or contrived, but arise naturally from the film's world and characters. This subtlety respects the audience's intelligence, allowing them to discover and interpret meanings in their own way. Whether it's through the interplay of light and shadow, the recurring image of a broken artifact, or the shifting color palette, Each symbolic thread enriches the narrative fabric, making Forbidden City a rich and rewarding viewing experience. Ultimately, the film's use of symbolism and metaphor transforms it into more than just a story to watch. It becomes a story to unravel. These hidden layers offer depth and intrigue that invite repeated viewings, spark thoughtful discussion, and elevate the film beyond conventional storytelling into the realm of artful cinema. For viewers who enjoy peeling back layers to find deeper meaning, Forbidden City provides an abundant feast of visual and thematic riches that linger in the mind long after the screen fades to black. Delving even deeper into the franchise and historical context of Forbidden City reveals just how thoughtfully this film balances its dual roles as both a vital piece in a larger saga and a richly immersive historical narrative. This balance is what makes the movie resonate so powerfully, offering layers of meaning and entertainment that reward repeated viewings and spark passionate discussion among audiences. From the franchise standpoint, Forbidden City does more than just continue a story. It enriches and redefines it. This installment isn't content with retreading old ground or relying on familiar formulas. Instead, it takes bold creative leaps that expand the mythology in exciting and unexpected ways. Characters that fans thought they knew reveal new facets of their personalities, motivations, and backstories, deepening emotional engagement and complicating the narrative landscape. This evolution keeps the franchise fresh and dynamic, appealing not only to longtime followers, but also inviting newcomers to dive into the rich world it has built. The film's narrative cleverly weaves callbacks and references to earlier entries without overwhelming viewers with exposition, showing a mastery of storytelling that respects both continuity and accessibility. This balance helps maintain momentum while creating a rewarding experience for fans who appreciate the intricate web of relationships and plot threads developed over time. In many ways, Forbidden City serves as a narrative nexus, connecting past events with future possibilities and setting the stage for further exploration in upcoming films or series. The filmmakers clearly understand the power of legacy and are not afraid to take risks that may redefine the franchise's direction, keeping audiences intrigued and invested. Moreover, the way Forbidden City handles its franchise status exemplifies the evolution of modern cinematic universes, moving beyond superficial sequels and spin-offs to create a cohesive, layered, and thoughtful narrative ecosystem. Each installment enriches the whole without losing its unique voice or emotional core, and this film embodies that ethos perfectly. On the historical side, Forbidden City stands out for its dedication to authenticity and atmosphere, making the period come alive in a way that few films achieve. The filmmaker's research is evident in every frame. The costumes, props, architectural details, and cultural practices are painstakingly rendered to transport viewers back in time. This meticulous attention to detail does more than just create visual spectacle. It builds a believable, tactile world that invites audiences to live within its walls and streets alongside the characters. But the film's historical immersion goes beyond aesthetics. It thoughtfully explores the complex social, political, and cultural forces at play during the era, revealing a society full of contradictions and tensions. Rather than presenting history as a static backdrop, it becomes an active, dynamic force that shapes the characters' choices, conflicts, and transformations. This adds depth and urgency to the story, as viewers witness the collision of personal ambitions with sweeping historical currents. What truly sets the historical context apart is the film's nuanced approach to portraying the past, not as a romanticized or sanitized tableau, but as a living, breathing reality filled with moral ambiguity and human complexity. The film acknowledges the messy, often uncomfortable truths of history, such as power struggles, social inequalities, and cultural clashes, while still highlighting moments of hope, resilience, and change. This approach encourages audiences to reflect on how history informs identity and destiny, drawing parallels to contemporary issues and universal human experiences. Additionally, the film excels at capturing the intangible qualities of the era, the atmosphere, mood, and emotional texture that bring history to life. Whether it's the quiet tension in a shadowed palace corridor or the bustling energy of a market square, these moments create a vivid sense of place that immerses viewers fully in the story's world. The interplay of light and shadow, sound and silence, grand spectacle and intimate detail all work together to create a rich sensory experience that enhances the narrative. For viewers interested in historical drama, Forbidden City offers a rewarding blend of education and entertainment. It invites curiosity about the real events and cultures that inspire the story, while also crafting a compelling and emotionally resonant drama that stands on its own merits. This dual achievement, being both informative and deeply engaging, is a hallmark of great historical filmmaking, and Forbidden City delivers it with style and substance. In summary, Forbidden City functions brilliantly on multiple levels. As a franchise installment, it honors and expands the legacy of its predecessors, pushing the narrative forward with creativity and emotional depth. As a historical film, it immerses viewers in a meticulously crafted world that feels alive and authentic, offering a thoughtful exploration of a complex era. This combination creates a cinematic experience that is rich, layered, and unforgettable. One that connects the past and present, myth and reality, storytelling and history in a way that captivates the imagination and stirs the heart. It's a film that rewards engagement, sparks reflection, and leaves audiences eager for what comes next. When it comes to the budget of Forbidden City, the film clearly put its money where its cinematic ambitions lay, balancing a substantial production budget with an equally ambitious creative vision. From the detailed set designs that bring ancient palaces and bustling city streets to vivid life, to the elaborate costumes and intricate props, every dollar spent reflects a commitment to crafting a visually stunning and immersive experience. The budget is not just a number. It's the backbone supporting the technical excellence that elevates the storytelling. High-quality visual effects, authentic location shoots, and the hiring of top-tier talent across departments all contribute to a film that feels lavish without losing focus on narrative depth. But how did this investment translate at the box office? Here's where the story gets even more interesting. While the film's production value certainly set high expectations, its financial performance became a dynamic story of its own. Initially, the box office numbers revealed a strong opening weekend, fueled by effective marketing campaigns that piqued curiosity and energized fans of the franchise and historical drama enthusiasts alike. The promotional strategies smartly leveraged teasers that highlighted the film's epic scale and emotional stakes, drawing audiences eager to see the Forbidden City brought to life on the big screen. However, the journey after that initial surge was a bit of a roller coaster. Audience reception played a critical role in sustaining momentum. Positive word of mouth from viewers who were impressed by the film's visuals, performances, and rich storytelling helped keep ticket sales steady, though the film faced stiff competition from other major releases during its run. The marketing teams were quick to adapt, emphasizing different aspects of the movie. Whether it was the star-studded cast, the gripping plot twists, or the cultural depth, to attract a wider audience and extend the film's lifespan in theaters. One of the fascinating things about Forbidden City's financial story is how it also found a second life beyond traditional box office numbers. With the rise of streaming platforms and digital rentals, the film tapped into new revenue streams that boosted its overall profitability. Fans who missed it in theaters flocked to watch it at home, and the film's impressive production values and engaging story helped it stand out in a crowded digital marketplace. This post-theatrical success highlights how modern films can leverage multiple channels to maximize their impact and earnings. The film's budget also speaks to a broader trend in the industry: the willingness to invest heavily in films that blend spectacle with substance. Forbidden City exemplifies how thoughtful spending on quality production can create a product that appeals to both critics and general audiences, setting a standard for future projects that aim to balance artistic integrity with commercial viability. In the end, the interplay between the budget and box office performance of Forbidden City paints a vivid picture of a film that dared to dream big and largely succeeded in delivering a memorable cinematic experience. The financial numbers tell part of the story, but the real impact lies in how the resources were used to create a film that resonates visually and emotionally, ultimately making the investment worthwhile for both filmmakers and audiences alike. If you're ready to immerse yourself in the world of Forbidden City, your best first stop is definitely the movie theater. This film is designed to be experienced on the big screen, where the grandeur of its visual storytelling truly comes alive. The sweeping panoramas of majestic palaces, the intricate craftsmanship of the costumes, and the atmospheric lighting all demand a large, high-resolution display to fully appreciate every detail. The theater's powerful sound system envelopes you in the film's rich audio landscape, from the subtle ambient noises of bustling courtyards to the booming, emotionally charged musical score that punctuates the story's highs and lows. Sitting in a dark auditorium with a crowd reacting around you amplifies the excitement and emotional resonance, making it a shared experience that enhances the film's impact. The scale, color palette, and audio design all combine to create an immersive atmosphere that smaller screens just can't replicate. Once the theatrical run wraps up, Forbidden City typically becomes available on a variety of streaming platforms and digital rental services. This transition opens the door for viewers who prefer the comfort and convenience of home viewing, or who might have missed the theatrical release. Streaming platforms usually offer high-definition or even 4K versions of the film, which maintain the visual sharpness and color vibrancy that are so vital to the film's aesthetic. Although watching at home lacks the sheer scale and surround sound experience of theaters, modern TVs and sound systems can still do justice to the film's stunning visuals and intricate soundtrack. For many, being able to pause, rewind, or rewatch favorite scenes adds a new layer of engagement, allowing a more personal connection to the story and its details. To get the most out of a home viewing, setting up a cozy and distraction-free environment helps tremendously. Dimming the lights, adjusting the sound to a comfortable yet immersive level, and perhaps even gathering friends or family to watch together can recreate some of the communal feeling of the theater experience. Using a larger screen or projector and a quality surround sound system or soundbar helps bring the cinematic quality closer to what the director intended. This setup makes it easier to catch the subtle expressions of actors, the detailed textures of sets, and the nuanced layering of sound design that give Forbidden City its rich atmosphere. For dedicated fans and collectors, physical copies such as Blu-ray or DVD often become available a few months after the digital release. These editions usually come packed with bonus features, behind-the-scenes footage revealing how the stunning visuals were created, interviews with the cast and crew sharing insights and anecdotes, director commentary that deepens understanding of the film's themes, and deleted or extended scenes that expand the story. Owning a physical copy allows fans to revisit the film anytime without relying on an internet connection, and provides a tangible keepsake that celebrates the film's artistry. For those who appreciate film as a craft, these extras add value by pulling back the curtain on the production process. Additionally, some special screenings or film festivals might feature Forbidden City with unique presentations, such as Q and sessions with filmmakers or live musical accompaniments, that offer a different way to experience the film's power and depth. These events create a communal atmosphere that highlights the film's cultural and artistic significance, enriching the overall viewing experience. In summary, Forbidden City offers multiple viewing options tailored to different preferences, but the best way to truly absorb its epic scale, visual beauty, and intricate sound design is in a movie theater setting. Following that Streaming and digital rental services provide accessible and high-quality alternatives for home viewers, while physical copies offer the added bonus of exclusive content and collectible value. No matter how you choose to watch, the film's powerful storytelling and stunning production ensure that it will leave a lasting impression.